Life has its variety of shades. We cannot imagine what is going to exactly happen to us in our way. Sometimes something unexpected happens in our life that changes our mode of living. Something like that happened in Shreya's life also. She found herself in a desperate condition when she learned that she lost both legs in an accident. She could not console herself for her helplessness those days. As she belonged to an Orthodox family, her parents and relatives began to worry about her marriage now. Who will now agree to marry such a disabled girl, and if by chance someone agrees to marry her, he must demand bounty dowry for that. They gossiped over her helpless condition. She was considered a burden for her family. Day by day, Shreya was getting frustrated hearing all these discussions. None of her family members could realize her pathetic condition. Anyhow, she wanted to get rid of all these problems. But how she could help herself overcome that situation? She had spent many sleepless nights after that tragic incident. She could notice the changing attitude of her family members. Her family began to behave inferiorly toward her as if she had committed any crime. When the support of her family was urgently needed for her to recover, they neglected their responsibility toward her. She was treated as unwanted by the family members. The past incidents began to flash in front of her eyes. She was lost in memories. She belonged to a lower middle-class family. Her father was a farmer. She had 2 brothers. One of them was working in a private company in Surat. Her younger brother was studying at a nearby school in her village, and she was teaching in an English medium school. She loved to see big dreams and also wanted to fulfill those. Whatever she was earning, she spent on her family only. She didn't even spend any on her own. She always dreamt of leading a happy and peaceful life with her family. But all her memories began to disappear when Dr. Habib approached her room. He was a young, smart, and energetic person who could influence Shreya much after her hospitalization. During her bad days in the hospital, Habib was the only source of inspiration for her. He could understand her feelings better than any. Shreya felt comfortable sharing her emotions with Habib. Both became good friends gradually. And soon Shreya started to love Habib without his knowledge. But she could not express her silent love to Habib. She was worried thinking about it. What if Habib denies her proposal? Why he will accept a disabled girl as his life partner? Should I express my true feelings to him? All these thoughts didn't let her sleep that night. She began to cry aloud to let her emotions free in the form of tears. She grew restless and panicked. Why did such a disaster happen to me? Oh God! You know everything. Please give me the strength to overcome such miseries in my life, appealed Shreya. The next day Shreya awoke early in the morning. She promised not to express her one-sided love to Habib. She didn't want to spoil his life. Rather, she would like to be a good friend of his. Suppressing all her feelings in her selfless heart and all emotions in her 2 innocent eyes, Shreya greeted Habib good morning. Very good morning, Shreya. How are you now? Asked Habib. He was amiable toward Shreya. He was also in love with that innocent girl, but he could not express his silent love to her. For hours they were talking with each other and were enjoying each other's company. Habib asked her to tell them about her family. Shreya shared every detail about her family with Habib. When she was only 2 years old, her mother died of cancer. Her stepmother and her 2 sons all the time tortured her. Still, she never complained about anything. One thing was much more important for her, and that was her freedom and self-independence. Habib appreciated Shreya for her positive outlook toward life. Never lose hope because we never know what tomorrow may bring in our life. You will achieve success in your life for your strong willpower, said Habib. After getting Habib's support, Shreya could visualize her bright future in his honest eyes. Now she was feeling jovial and confident. The mobile phone rang and it interrupted their talking. Habib went out of Shreya's room to receive that call. Suddenly she noticed something under her pillow on the bed. It was a piece of white paper. But not just a paper, it was indeed a love letter. In the letter, it was written, "Shreya, I love you. But I never dare to express it to you as it may dishearten you. Please don't take it the other way, from Dr. Habib." After going through that letter, she could not believe her eyes. It was like a dream for Shreya. Tears overflow from her eyes and she was feeling contented. Suddenly she felt someone's hand on her cheeks, wiping out her tears. She found Habib there, standing and looking into her eyes. Both of them got emotional for being successful in revealing their silent true love to each other. Habib proposed to Shreya for marriage. She agreed with his proposal, but still, she needed her family members' permission for it. One day Shreya told her parents about Habib's proposal for marriage. But as theirs is a conservative family, they strictly turned down the proposal of Habib. "You are a Hindu girl and Habib is a Muslim boy. How can you marry a Muslim going against our religion?" "Forget about Habib now," replied Shreya's father in a very rough tone. She made every possible effort to convince them. But all her efforts were futile. No more permission she needed now. She had the right to take decisions about her life. She grew furious about it as it was time to fight for her right. And on that day, all her family members were surprised at Shreya's straightforward attitude. She packed all the necessary things needed for her and got ready to leave her house forever. Finally, she left the house and went with Habib. They went to court for marriage. Everything was arranged by Habib's friends. Both Shreya and Habib felt lucky to be each other's life partners. They promised to strengthen their beautiful relationship forever. Though Shreya was not able to walk by herself, she was using the wheelchair and it made everything easy for her to handle. Gradually she adapted herself to every condition. She was doing the household work at home. But after completing those works, she was feeling lonely. She started to think of preparing herself for civil service examinations. She always had a big dream to serve the weaker sections of society. Hence, she thought it to be perfect to make it happen. She worked hard to crack the IAS exam. Habib was very excited to know about his wife's tremendous effort. He encouraged Shreya to dedicate herself fully to her goal. Her continuous effort, dedication, determination, and confidence resulted in her cracking the IAS exam on her very first attempt. All her happiness knew no bounds when she got to know about her selection. The feeling of excitement enhanced the couple that day. They were thankful near God for having His blessings on them. That day Shreya was so much excited that she wanted to share her happiness with her family also. After all, they were her parents. Both Habib and Shreya reached her father's house to celebrate her success. But her family members felt ashamed of themselves for their past harsh behavior. As Shreya was generous, she forgave them all. After her selection for the IAS exam, she was interviewed by many TV channels. When asked about whom she would like to give all her credit for her stupendous achievement, she replied, "It was the blessings of my parents on me for which I could succeed in my life. Besides them, My husband's continuous support encouraged me a lot, and I could achieve what I was aspiring for due to the grace of God. I would like to thank them all for their immense contribution to my success." Of extreme guilt and shame, Shreya's family members realized their mistakes that day. They vowed not to repeat such mistakes in their life further. Soon Shreya was appointed as a collector in Andhra Pradesh. That day she promised to devote herself wholeheartedly to her duties and responsibilities. During her professional career, she achieved great success with her generosity. People started to respect her. She built many hospitals and schools for poor people. She helped educate several poor students. She built many orphanages and facilitated those for the betterment of society. As she was a woman, she started a campaign to empower women. Those were the happiest days in her life to be recollected. She felt satisfied helping the poor and the helpless. Years passed, and the couple was blessed with a baby girl. They named their daughter Kavya and made every possible effort to nurture her properly. The twisted true love story of Shreya and Habib is ideal for others in the materialistic society. It is a source of inspiration for many lovers who cannot understand the meaning of true love in their life. Nowadays, love becomes a time pass for youngsters. The newer generation should learn something from this love story to motivate themselves and gain something meaningful in life.